Hello everyone, welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School. In this improvisation lesson, I'd like to give you a sort of beginner's look at using chord tones within your improvisation and sort of give you a place to start from. Chord tones is one of those things, or target notes is another way. Using arpeggios could be another way of describing it. It's a thing that's often mentioned within improvisation, but when I watch people's videos on it here on YouTube, I sort of feel like they go way too deep, way too quickly. And I think if any of the people that are studying improvisation with me, whether it's kind of the people that I see online on Zoom, or the people that come actually physically to me for lessons, I feel like if I presented them with that, it'd go over their heads far too quickly. So I want to give you a sort of like really, really early, it's the kind of start point of how to approach chord tones, and then you can do whatever you wish with it. Okay? Now, this is under the assumption that you are happy with the first position of the A minor pentatonic. I'm using that as my framework to base today's lesson off. And if you head to the first link in the description, you can download a PDF that accompanies this lesson. All the diagrams that I'm going to show you on screen can be downloaded as part of a PDF for you to print out or keep on your computer and use for reference later on. And if you want to take any notes or anything, I'd highly urge you to go and get that. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to give me your email address. There's no monkey business. You literally go on the website and grab it completely for free. I'd also encourage you to have a bit of a peruse around and look at some of the other stuff that I do here on the internet, whether it's my academy, which is like a Netflix for guitar lessons type thing that I do, or song lessons, or even some of my courses. I have a Blues and Rock Improvisation Module 1 course that recently came out that if you want to sort of start right back from the beginning and do it properly rather than in bits and bats, I'd urge you to go and check that out. I'll put a second link in the description where you can check that out if you need. It's just like it's a 14 lesson course that goes right from the beginning, and it might just fill some holes in your knowledge if you feel like some of this is going over your head or you want to refresh. Right, so like I said, A minor pentatonic, we use this to improvise, and it's usually the first place that most people will start improvising. Now, a chord tone is basically, let's take an A minor chord, and if I give you the names of the chords, names of the notes, sorry, A, E, A, C, E. So if we add an A, a C, and an E together, those are what we call chord tones. If we add all those three elements together, it gives us that. So what's that got to do with improvisation? Well, what it does is it gives you a great place, and this is one of many functions, okay? If you can think of any more that I don't mention that you think could help somebody out, let me know in the comments of this video. But you knowing what notes are in the chord, when the band's playing an A minor chord, you can use one of those notes as a point of reference to either start from, you could finish a lick on, you could use it as a feature. It's just a really great place to start. Now, when I think of this, I think of the notes that we're going to talk about today are here, and they're already contained within the pentatonic, within the pentatonic scale. Now, we are going to talk about D minor in a second and how to target the notes when the chord progression's moving, but at absolute ground level, you should be able to see, or what I'd like you to be able to do, is to be able to look at these and see, right, okay, well, I've got the A minor pentatonic on the left-hand side. I know that shape. And then on the right-hand side, I've targeted the A, the C, and the E notes in red. Now, they're not all of them, but they're the ones that I'd like you to start with. And we could use those to either start, finish, or use as a feature within our improvisation. Now, what that does is all of a sudden it makes your improvising sound a little bit more, what's the right way? Sort of upmarket, like we know what we're doing, which is what this is all about, isn't it? Now, rather than just, I've got a loop here of just an A blues, right? And the chord doesn't change. The chord's just going to be an A minor underneath all this, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to meander around to start with. no direction, there's no sense of purpose, is there? Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start from this 7th fret here. All of a sudden it starts to sound more sort of together. What about this C note here on the 5th fret of the G? Okay. What about this E note? 5th fret of the B string. Or the high E. You do the BB King. You could do that thing, couldn't you? What I'm doing is I'm using those as a point of reference from where I can start from. Now, what a lot of people that I teach how to play in this style, I'll go, right, here's an A minor pentatonic scale, here's a link to a backing track on YouTube, and just have fun with it and come back to me next week. Or the people that study with me online, I say, there you go, take that away, and then take a little clip on your phone and WhatsApp it to me, and I'll give you some critique across the week. And a lot of people, most people, will start here on this 5th fret of the low E string, because that's where the scale starts. Now, a common complaint for a lot of guitarists is, whenever I do this, it just sounds like I'm running scales, and a lot of it's got to do with the fact that you're starting here. Well, why don't you start with one of the red notes? And all of a sudden, it starts to sound more musical and more like the guitarist that you listen to and go, God, I wish I could play like that, right? Now, the way I want you to approach this is I want you to think of this as a 2-step process. On the left-hand side, the scale is level 1. On the right-hand side, I want you to think of that as like the second step in the process where you are overlaying those notes. Now, this just happens to be that these red notes all exist within the framework of the A minor pentatonic. It's going to change for the D minor, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I don't know if you're... I was saying this to my lead guitar group that I teach on a Wednesday. When you were at school, or at least when I was at school, they had the overhead projector came out, and whatever the teacher wanted to show us was cast up onto the wall. And they'd have a piece of film that they'd put on the bed of the machine, and it'd send it up onto the wall for whatever they wanted to teach. They'd then sometimes take a second sheet and overlay it on top of the pre-existing one to add an extra layer of either complexity or the next step in whatever process they were trying to explain. I want you to think about these two on screen. I want you to think about these two as this A minor pentatonic, this one here, is your first layer, and this one's your second layer. And think of it as, right, the minor pentatonic is home, but I know that I think it's a good idea to start, finish, or make a feature of one of those notes, and my improvisation will sort of get going on the right foot. Okay? So that's like the first step of this. And I do encourage you to, whether you've got a looper at home and you just kind of strum an A minor chord and then try this for yourself, I'd encourage you to try that. If you don't have a looper, type into YouTube A minor vamp backing track. Now a vamp, V-A-M-P, is it's a backing track that just sits on one chord and it just goes on and on and on for 3, 4, 5 minutes. Really boring to listen to, but great fun to improvise over because it gives you a chance to really explore the possibilities within that one chord without the goalpost moving constantly. So I'd urge you to try that. If you're hungry for something else, let's go to the next kind of bit of this lesson, which is to introduce that to a D minor chord. Now, most blues, we think it changes up to that. We all know that we've heard it in a million songs. Turns to. Well, that's what we call chord 4 in a progression, and that's a lesson for another day on the Nashville number system and all that kind of stuff. But if we were soloing over a blues, the next sort of stage in this process would go, right, okay, we're going to play 4 bars of A minor and we're going to play 4 bars of D minor. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think of the chord tones that sit over, because we're in the key of A minor, remember, but the band are going to play a D minor chord, because that works still really well with what we're doing. However, there's a couple of extra notes that you can put into the scale. Well, there's just one, in fact, that'll really make it sound sweet. Okay? Now, look at the framework of that D minor pentatonic, and what's the, that D minor triad overlaid on the A minor pentatonic, and the offender is that 6th fret of the B string. Okay? So we've got 7th fret of the G, 6th fret of the B, 5th fret of the high E. It's like a little ladder. Yeah? Now what I can do is I can hear in a chord progression, I can hear a B minor chord coming. I can hear it coming and I can go, right, okay, the B minor chord's coming in 2 bars time, 1 bar's time. What's a note within the D minor, like little arpeggio that fits over that scale that I can play? I call it a money shot note. It's kind of like, sometimes you'll hear somebody play a guitar solo and they just hit the right note at the right time and all the stars align and it all just kind of sounds great and wonderful. That's kind of what you're going for in your improvisation. So when people talk about playing over the changes, they're anticipating this chord change coming up and trying to hit it at the right time. So what I'm going to do, I'll have to do this in real time. I'm going to create a loop. Now, I'm going to play an A minor chord for 4 bars. Then I'm going to play a D minor chord for 4 bars. And again, if you type A minor to D minor backing track in YouTube, there will be something that you can use, okay? So let me just lay this down. Let me show you how I do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Two more bars. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and D. Two more bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, and stop. Okay, so we've got us backing track now. Now what I would seek to do, keep track of the chords. This is currently A minor, but it's going to change to D minor now. 2, 3, 4. And just get used to that to start with. And it's going to change back to A minor in a second. 5, 6, 7, 8, A minor. So once you've got your bearings, I'll just stop that for a second so I'm not shouting over it. Once you've got your bearings, you can start going, right, okay, well if the band are playing A minor, those are my chord tones over the A minor pentatonic scale. And then when it changes, those are my chord tones over the D minor. Now what I'd like to do is one of my favourite things to do with this 6th fret of the B string here, that's one of my favourite kind of, it's called the minor third, is that note. I'm gonna solo in A minor for the first 4 bars. But when I hear the D minor coming, when the band changes, I'm going to count myself in and I'm going to play that when the loop pedal changes to a D minor, and listen how awesome it sounds. So, A minor to start with. 2 more bars. Ready? 2, 3, 4. Back to A minor. Trying to use as many chord tones as I can. Okay, let's try a different one. So it's quite hard in the room. This is actually my 3rd take of trying to get this without something going wrong, because I try and do it all in one clip because I want you to feel like I'm sat in the room with you. But can you see how understanding when a chord's coming up and being able to premeditate, I'm going to play a chord tone on that change, is what so many people do in their improvisation. And when you listen to somebody like Gary Moore or Peter Green or these, you know, any phenomenal soloist on the guitar, Brian May is another one, very calm, very calculated, and can hear the changes coming up. So when people talk about playing over the changes, that's what they mean. So what I'd like you to do then, for if you were sat with a one-to-one lesson with me for your homework, what I'd like you to explore is, I'd like you to explore getting comfortable using the A minor pentatonic over an A minor vamp, and use that as a framework to try and play some chord tones and some target notes. And then I'd like you to explore adding the 4 chord into that. You can use a minor blues, or you can find an A minor to D minor vamp. If anybody finds a good one, pop it in the comments down below. Now, this is one way of a dozen different ways to look at this topic. It's absolutely massive, and a 15-minute YouTube video is not going to solve it all for you, I'm afraid. But if you want to learn a lot more about this kind of stuff, I'd urge you to check out this video over here where I explain my blues improvisation course and kind of what's involved with that. It's a 14-lesson, low-cost kind of take it at your pace, quite chill course about blues improvisation. If you like to do more of what I've done there, check that out and it'll give you a lot more information about it. If you like this format of lesson and you like the idea of these short, sort of sharp improvisation lessons, I did a lesson here on mixing the major and the minor pentatonic for beginners. I'd urge you to go and check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon for another improvisation lesson. Thank you.